Welcome to the Tuning In podcast, where we talk alignment, intuition, and our internal guidance system. We cover woo-woo topics in an approachable and practical way. I'm your host, Dana Evans of Alignful.com. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Tuning In podcast. Welcome to February. I am so excited and enjoying the welcoming of a new month. A couple updates over here. I just wanted to share some things that I've been up to that I don't think I actually told anybody about. And that includes a new training that I am doing. I am becoming a certified clinical hypnotherapist. And while I believe in the inner voice work, I know that hypnotherapy is a very more accepted and more common form of accessing kind of the subconscious mind. And I thought, man, it would be really powerful for me to understand that side of hypnotherapy so that I can integrate it in with my inner voice work and also learn more about how that helps affect the subconscious mind, because inner voice goes beyond the subconscious, but hypnotherapy works directly with the subconscious. And then I'll also be able to create hypnotic tracks for my clients. So if they're trying to make a shift, I can create almost like meditations, but they're hypnotherapy sessions that they can listen to before bed or, a couple times a day to help reprogram their subconscious mind. So I'm really excited about that. I'll actually be needing to do 3 practice sessions with volunteers that I record and get feedback on before I can officially be certified. And then with that, I'm also doing I think the first 2 levels of Reiki, which is an energy healing work. And all of this is just, I'm making sure that my practice, especially as I'm bringing on more one-to-one clients. If you listened last week, I have the Insight coaching experience where we work one-to-one together for 3 months using inner voice, energy work, releasing old blocks, releasing emotions, right? Doing that emotional clearing and really clearing the runway so that you can step through and take off in your life without all of the blocks. So as I'm going into that, I just want to make sure I have as many resources and tools as I can to help my clients on the energetic level and the subconscious level and help them really take off and scale and grow and fly. So it's really fun, really exciting. I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing through those. Interesting. That's actually the topic of today's conversation, is all about rushing. But that's what I have been up to. So this week we are talking about the relationship that we have with the present moment and rushing and getting to the other side of things. And this comes from I've been listening to Oprah and Ekhart Tolle have a podcast where they walk through each chapter of Ekhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, which is just, the book is so amazing. I'm reading it very slowly. And it's like every page I have all these highlights and I want to share so much. But listening to the accompanying podcast that goes with each episode is even more powerful because Oprah and Ekhart actually talk about it, and that sometimes helps me understand it better. So after listening to an episode earlier this week, I was really becoming aware of my tendency to rush through things. And one thing I wanted to talk about on this week's episode is how I'm dealing with that. So without further ado, here is episode 73 of the Tuning In podcast. Okay, everybody, welcome. So we are talking about the present moment and our relationship to it. And more practically our relationship to rushing and wanting to get there, wherever there is. And after listening to Eckhart Tolle talk about this a week or so ago, it really hit me how much time I spend rushing to finish something. And I wanted to share this with you all so you can witness it in your own lives. So it started very simply with my magical morning partner, Candace. We share voice memos together every morning. And in January, I kept saying to her, January is the longest month. When is this month going to be over? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's still January. Which you may have had similar conversations in your life. But when I paused, in fact, on February 1st, I sent her a voice memo. And I said, well, we made it through January. It's officially February. And now I'm wondering, why did I need to get through January? I mean, really, months are just a construct, right? They're relatively arbitrary. Someone put together like January has 31 days, February has 28. Not someone put them together, but in terms of like overall experience, what's the difference for me between January 31st and February 1? And yet my mind was really happy to be in a new month. And I realized that I spent a lot of January, which in my mind is a month that I don't like much. But in reality, this January was so powerful for me. It was full because my sloth experiment ended and I all of a sudden had all this energy and creative power to bring things into this world. But my mind still thought it didn't like January and it wanted it to end for some reason. And so on February 1, I said, yeah, here we are on February 1. And why did I want to get rid of January? What is it about a month that we're like, oh, it's still this month? Because how often, this is so interesting, we have this very complicated relationship with time. So on one end, we don't want time to speed up, right? Because there's aging, like there's things we want to get done in a certain amount of time. So if time, quote, speeds up, it doesn't. But if time speeds up, then we don't have as much time to do what we want. So inherently, by saying I wanted January to be over, I'm asking time to speed up, which is, I would say that's not something I want. So how interesting that, we talk about that like, oh, this has been the longest day ever. I just want the day to be over. And then sometimes, and this shows how arbitrary time is, when you're enjoying a day, you're like, I never want this day to stop. The day is going by too fast. Well, the day is the day. The time warp happens in the mind. And so it really got me thinking about this after I shared that with Candace. And I'm like, whoa, where else am I trying to just get through? And I would say I have quite a bit of time abundance in my life. I have plenty of time. I feel that I have plenty of time. And yet old habits keep me rushing time. So let me give you some examples, and then I'll read a couple quotes from Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, that kind of help spur the thinking process. So here's an example. I tend to think I don't like a shower. What? Who says that? Because it takes a lot of time, especially like actually this morning. Usually my shower process is like dry brushing, then I shower, and then I have to wash my hair when I'm washing it, which is only like twice a week. And then I get out of the shower, then I have to do the moisturizer. I use Primally Pure tallow and shea butter body balm, which is it's like just pure ingredients and essential oils, and it makes my skin feel so amazing. But it takes time, like rub it in, massage it in, all of that. And then I have to put my robe on so the moisturizer can absorb, which is my current state. Then I have to blow dry my hair. Then if I want my hairstyle to really last, I have to style it. And all in all, like this process is probably an hour. And I only probably do that full process twice a week max. But because I think that process takes away from my day, I will often either avoid it or rush it. So the other day, a couple weeks ago, I jumped in the shower and I was like, I literally caught myself like frantically scrubbing my hair. I was like speed washing my hair, like, and I caught myself. I was like, oh my God, I wasn't breathing. I wasn't present to the warmth of the shower and the water, and I was just hurrying. And I stopped and thought, if I'm spending all of the small moments trying to hurry to get to the next, when am I going to arrive? Like, I'm rushing the shower so I can get done with the moisturizing, so I can get my clothes on, so I can get to work, so I can finish up my work, so I can get to my glass of wine, so I can get to bed. And then I love waking up. So it's like, I want to get to bed so that I can get up, so I can make my coffee, so that. Well, that's a hamster wheel. That's Groundhog Day. That's keeping up this hurrying energy so you can get to the next thing, thinking that there's an end in sight, but there isn't, because the end is death, right? But the present moment is the now, and that's where we're experiencing everything, like right now. Everything else exists in the mind, the future, the past, the end, the next thing that we're getting toward. So in the shower, that moment, I was like, whoa, I need to slow down. I mean, it takes whatever. Washing my hair is washing my hair. Like, why rush through that? I'm going to save myself, 12 seconds? So I took a deep breath. I closed my eyes and I started just massaging the shampoo in my hair. And then I could feel like the steam in my lungs as I took a breath. And I could feel the warmth of the water on my skin. And I could hear the of the water in the shower. And my whole body relaxed. I was present. And let me tell you, I enjoyed that shower. And I do not believe it took me longer. And then I got to the part where I was moisturizing. I was like, man, this smells so good, this body butter. There's no toxins. It's just like the most essential earth ingredients: shea butter, tallow, essential oils, and apricot oil. And I was massaging that into my legs. And I was like, wow, it feels so good to massage my calves. And oh, my skin feels so smooth. And then there's vanilla and peppermint oil in the body butter. And so I could smell that, which was so invigorating. And then afterward, it was a cool tingle on my skin because of the peppermint. And I was like, what an experience. The rushing happens also in the mind. That moisturizing process, I don't believe, again, took significantly longer, but I enjoyed it more. So to me, it's a difference of rushing through the present moment to get to the next moment that you're going to rush, and being present and aware and enjoying the present moment, enjoying and slowing down a little bit and experiencing that. And that creates more joy, right? We think that, well, once I get done with my day, then I can have my glass of wine, then I can finally relax, then I can finally enjoy. But usually if you're having that glass of wine, you might be thinking, oh God, here's what I didn't finish. Maybe I should watch a TV show. I don't want to stay up too late. Maybe I should go to bed. What do I have to do tomorrow? So even when you're in that moment that you've been waiting for all day, you're still not present. So what does it look like to bring that presence into the moment, to slow down? Where do you find yourself hurrying through? And really, a wonderful practice would be twofold. One, just when you wake up, to think through your day and picture how it's going to unfold. And what would it look like if you took a few breaths in every moment and were aware of the sensations, the touch, the feel, the smell, the taste of what was going on? And then at the end of the day, replay your day and say, was I rushing? And did that serve me? Right? Was I rushing through breakfast? Was I rushing to my meeting? Was I rushing to end the phone call? Was I rushing through my shower, through my workout, through cooking? Where are you hurrying yourself along? I think about my cat a lot. Animals and children are so present to energy, and they're present, right? They're like here and now, especially animals. And I notice sometimes, like, if John and I are both trying to get out the door, got to get out the door because we got to get somewhere, even though usually these days we don't even have to be somewhere by a certain time, but we're already behind. We got to get out the door. We got to go. And what happens if both he and I are doing that? Our cat gets really ornery. Mia's like, rah, rah, which interestingly usually forces us to pause and pay attention to her. She's like, I don't like this rushing. Like, I don't like this hurrying energy. Animals don't like to be like, go on, go on, go on. Like, every time we try to get Mia, she'll get on the counter and we're like, up or down, because we have an upper counter where her water is that she's allowed on, and then the main counter she's not allowed on, and then the floor, right? So she'll sit sometimes in the main counter. I'm like, get down, get down. And she does not just jump down. She saunters over to the place where she jumps on and off from. And then she pauses. She'll usually like rub her cheek on the corner. And then she goes, ah! And then she jumps down. It doesn't matter how forceful we are or how casual we are. She takes her time getting off the counter. And it's hilarious. She does not want us to rush her. And you may find that with your children, right? Children don't like to be rushed either. And as adults, we're so used to rushing through things to get to the arbitrary thing. And then you'll notice that kids resist being rushed. Like, they want to wander and take their time and experience because they're so present. And what a beautiful gift for us, instead of to rush our children and pets, of course, when we can, to actually use them as a guide and a nudge for us to slow down and pause and become more present. Oh, that feels so good. And for me, I'm just seeing it show up in everything and just trying to find a little bit more joy. And even like last Saturday, my husband and I he runs and I bike ride, and he was going to do the 10-mile loop, which is hard. And I literally caught myself being like, okay, honey, let's go. We should go. We should go, with nothing else, by the way. Nothing else was on the schedule. And I'm like, we got to get going. We got to go, as if we're already behind. I caught my mind thinking, I want to do this bike ride so I can finish the bike ride so I can come home and relax. What? The bike ride is relaxing. Like, I love the bike ride. It is so restorative for my soul, for my body, being out in nature, breathing that air, looking at the sky and the clouds and the hawks that fly by, having conversations with John, and just being without my phone. That's relaxing. But my mind wanted to rush the entire process on a day that we literally had nothing else to do, just so it could relax later. So it's crazy. And I'm sharing all of these examples with you. I mean, I catch myself like rush making the bed. Gotta get the bed made. Gotta get the bed made. Hurry, hurry, hurry. And it's this, we're fighting with time, right? Because I see, at least for myself, is the motivation behind rushing is because I always feel like I don't have enough time and I'm running out of time. And so if I rush things, then I can get to the things that need to be done. I can get to more things. But as Kimmy and I talked about in our Cellular Connection series, talking about rest, is slowing down is often the quickest way to speed up. I talked about this with my sloth experiment debrief last week's episode. If you didn't listen to that, I think that's one of my best episodes yet. It's so informative and helpful. But I hit the brakes for 4 months. And then I stepped into the new year and it was that's a quantum leap. What I created in 1 month was unbelievable after 4 months of resting. So slowing down to speed up. My friend Shannon always would say to me, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And I don't know whose quote that is, but she always reminds me of that. And giving ourselves that permission to slow down and be present in the moment shifts our relationship with time, because time is time. It's our perception of time that affects us. I mean, have you ever had a day where you're like, man, I just felt like I had so much time today and I was able to get things done. I didn't feel rushed and I felt accomplished at the end of the day. I felt satisfied. Versus the days where you might be getting a ton done, but you feel like you're scrambling and rushing and hurrying the whole day. And at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I feel like I didn't get anything done. You may have gotten the same amount done, but it was the energy behind the doing. So I want to end with just a couple quotes from Eckhart. And this is chapter 2 in A New Earth, the ego and the present moment. And Eckhart says the most important, the primordial relationship in your life is your relationship with the now. You may have heard of his other book, The Power of Now, or with whatever form the now takes. That is to say, what is or what happens, right? What are you experiencing in this moment? If your relationship with the now is dysfunctional, which, by the way, is a given, that's most of us, that's how we're raised, that dysfunction will be reflected in every relationship and every situation you encounter. Once you have reached a certain level of consciousness, you are able to decide what kind of a relationship you want to have with the present moment. And a question you can ask is, do I want the present moment to be my friend or my enemy? And Eckhart talks a lot about making the present moment your friend. Become friendly toward it. Welcome it no matter what disguise it comes in. And soon you will see the results. Life becomes friendly toward you. People become helpful. Circumstances cooperative. One decision changes your entire reality. But that one decision you have to make again and again and again until it becomes natural to live in such a way. And that's true. I had that awareness about not being present, but I keep catching myself over and over. And I just have to pause and breathe and then notice the senses of what's around me. That's how you become present, is check in. Am I breathing? Check in with your breath. That takes you out of the head, the mind. And then notice. Use your 5 senses. Those bring you back into the present moment as well. There are 3 ways in which the ego will treat the present moment. 1, as a means to an end, which we talked about a lot on this episode, you want to get to the next thing. 2, as an obstacle, if only I didn't have to do this later, then I could do this. And the bike ride was a good example. I was like, the bike ride is getting in the way of me relaxing. Or as an enemy. And he says this, and I want to share that when he talks about it being an enemy, is we start to be impatient, frustrated, stressed. And that's a lot of our everyday reality, right? Life, which is the now, is seen as a problem, and you come to inhabit a world of problems that all need to be solved before you can be happy, fulfilled, or really start living. Have you ever felt that way? Once I get this, then I can be happy. Once I lose 5 pounds, then I can love my body. Once I get a partner, then I'll feel fulfilled. Once I make $100,000, then I can be trustful in my ability to run a business. And this is where you'll hear about the concept of be, do, have, right? So be who you want to be in the present moment. That being causes you to do the things that that type of person would do so that you can have the results you want. But in our Western culture, we're usually taught have, do, be. So in order to have the things I want, I have to do certain things so that I can be that person. And it's just a backwards model. So the present moment, when it's treated as an enemy, when you hate what you are doing, complain about your surroundings, curse things that are happening or have happened, or when your internal dialogue consists of shoulds and shouldn'ts, of blaming and accusing, then you are arguing with what is, arguing with that which is always already the case. You're making life into an enemy. And life says, war is what you want, then war is what you get. External reality, which always reflects back to your inner state, is then experienced as hostile. And just feel into that. Do you catch yourself complaining a ton, fighting, resisting what is? And a deeper conversation is when we can start to surrender to what is. And that in itself will help us become more present. And then, as he said, our outer reality always reflects our internal state, right? Wayne Dyer, I always quote him. He says, you don't get what you want, you get what you are. And that took me years to really get. I heard it so long ago. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. So who are you being? Are you being someone who rushes through the day, who fights with the present moment, who complains, and who is constantly in a state of stress and spiraling of not doing enough? Or are you a person who is at peace with the now, who tunes in, slows down a little bit, and enjoys the small moments of life, knowing that those are the moments that create your life? There is no there. There's only here. And this is why I love inner voice work so much, because it takes you right back to the present moment. Your inner voice is only in the present. That's why when we ask inner voices questions, they're not usually going to tell you about the future. It's like, what is right for me right now? What is right for me in this moment? What do I need in this moment? It's not going to say a vacation. It's probably going to say a breath, a walk, a snack, a hug, a nap. And when we do the deep dive inner voice sessions and with the insight coaching program that I'm doing, what you're experiencing is you are experiencing a way to tap into the present for an hour plus at a time. And that shifts your entire energetic field. So that even when you come out of the inner voice session, you are still in that energy of presence. And that reverberates into every aspect of your life. And that's what accelerates you. That's what gives you that quantum leap to massively change your life, because what you resist persists. Right? When we go into the inner voice, we release resistance and we get its perspective on things. And through that, you let go, right? You release emotions, you clear roadblocks while in session so that you have more clarity and you can continue to step through. And then we follow up the sessions with actual mind-based coaching using NLP and energy work like Reiki, so that we're clearing as much as we can and then using the mind in the most effective way, not to fret or create stress or to fight you, but using the mind to take action and to follow through on what your inner voice guides you toward. And that to me is the most magical recipe for transformation that I have seen. I haven't seen this anywhere else. I haven't seen this combination. And I think it is the next wave of coaching. And I think it's what we all need. That's why I didn't create it from the mind. It was guided, right? I was guided toward this creation. And I am taking on, I shared this last week, 11 clients, 11 one-to-one clients to go on this insight massive transformation, to bring you out of resistance with the present so that you can quantum leap to the next present moment, right? The next best moment. And be in that essence and not fight or resist what is, but start to enjoy life on a micro level. Enjoy life on a micro level. Your life is a culmination of moments, of present moments. And what would it feel like? What would it look like to shift how you feel every moment in the present? What would you create from that energy versus that of fighting resistance, stress, and creating the present moment as an enemy? So I invite you, if you're feeling that bubbling sensation, if you feel tingles, warmth, a bursting of your heart, a ping in your gut, a little excitement or nervous excitement, any of those sensations are your inner voice talking to you saying, please, we want to speak to you. We want to share. We want to go on this journey. Then I invite you to reach out to me either at my email address, which is Dana, D-A-N-A, at alignful.com. That's ALIGNFUL, alignful.com, or on Instagram at Dana_Evans. And I would just love to talk to you more. And more than anything, it's to figure out if this truly is a match for you, because this program is not for everyone. It's for those who are really ready to step into their power and make that transformation in their life, starting within, starting now in the present moment. I cannot wait to work with you. I cannot wait to speak with you. And I cannot wait to share until next week, but I can wait, right? Because I'm in the present moment. So thank you so much, as always, for listening. If this would resonate with anyone you know, either the Insight program or just the episode about being more mindful and present, then don't hesitate to share or tag me on Instagram. And until next time, I will see you next week. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tuning In podcast. As always, if this would resonate with anyone you know, please share the episode. You can follow along with my journey on Instagram at Dana_Evans, or find me on my website at alignful.com.